so that we also have that again. So again, welcome, welcome, welcome. We are in the group Building Generational Wealth. This is Jizz Clerk's Facebook group, but really it's all of ours because we all participate, or a lot of us do. And I was just telling everybody how thankful we are for his leadership, his guidance, and his continued effort to make sure that this group is always informed on information that could widen the wealth conversation even beyond forex. So that's where we are right now. So listen, today when I woke up, I said, you know what, we got to do something special in here. We haven't done anything in a while, and I lean on you to make sure that you're continuing to put content in here because we've got so many other things going on simultaneously. But I wanted to come in here and say, hey, listen, we need to do something today. And when you hit me up and said, what are we going to do? I said, why don't we talk about silver? Because you and I have been investing in silver now for a little bit. And people might not know why. People might not know, you know, why that conversation is an important conversation, especially what's going on right now. And I thought it would be a good topic because we do use our forex money for this process. And that's what I was talking about when I say forex is the common language, right? Forex by itself is nothing but a vehicle to accumulate cash, liquidity. And once you have that liquidity, what you do with it is what's important, right? And so let's just start there, man. Like, you know, what got you involved in silver? You know, if you want to say anything at the start, like I'm passing it over to you.
I mean, for me, it was really just getting put onto it. Because to tell you the truth, I didn't really know that you can actually go out and get gold. I mean, I've seen the commercials on TV, you know, the Franklin Mint, that kind of thing. But I really thought it was just more like a collector, people doing it as collection, not necessarily as an investment opportunity. So that kind of really sparked my interest. You know, our upline mentor, our chairman mentor, Randy Webb, he has those discussions, the dollar crisis. A lot of people are aware right now that the U.S. is in some serious debt right now, and we're not feeling the real effects of it. Although if you do check various media sources or news outlets, financial news specifically, they'll tell us that prices of products has started to go up. So I don't know how many people on the group, if when you go to the supermarket, are you seeing that? Is it impacting your wallet right now? It's starting to happen, right? We've been talking months and months now that, you know, the economy, the stock market is going to stop that hyper inflation that it's on right now, and we're seeing that pullback is not just a pullback, it's actually a reversal. So what we've been talking about, I think since earlier this year, even before the pandemic, because the signals in the economy, for people who know how to read the economy, financial news, economists, you know, traders, they see those signs. The warning signs have been blaring. So when Randy Webb started talking about investing in gold and investing in silver, and he wasn't talking about trading forex, like trading gold and trading silver on forex, he was talking about buying the actual asset. I was like, wow, this is new to me. This is new. So, you know, I followed suit, asked you about it, and started making little inroads, you know, just got my first coin and then up my investment. And it just makes sense to me because even, you know, you have some people who truly believe or fear that not just the U.S. economy, but a lot of the world economy is in trouble. So you have on the extreme end of the spectrum, you have those doomsdayers, right? Who truly believe like everything is going to collapse any minute now, right? So they're prepping, they're prepping the you know, the food, they're prepping, you know, everything that they're going to need. They're getting water, and then they're getting silver because they believe that money, regular cash money, is going to be worthless. So for them, it's another way of having something that they can exchange, and it has a value that is more robust and more solid in its valuation than just our traditional currency. So then on the other end of the spectrum, you have the investors who are just like, I don't necessarily believe that, you know, we're going to go into the dark ages, but I do believe that we're going to get to some type of depression type economy where it's going to be bad to if you just have regular money. So it just makes sense for those people, and I'm one of them, to have other assets that hold value, and silver is one of those assets that you can accumulate. And then, you know, worst case scenario, you have some silver, right? Is that really bad? If you happen to just have some silver?
No, I mean, yeah, and then also there is again, with just take that little sliver, what you just said, of just having the silver, you also do have a whole nother community out there who, just like you mentioned at the beginning, the Franklin Mint, the whatever, that there is a collector community. So being able to accumulate these assets, and then 10, 15 years, let's say you didn't need the silver, there's still going to be a value within these coins for that collector community as well, which is important. So you know, you mentioned some different things there. You mentioned the doomsday scenario. You mentioned which I don't think we're going, you know, that far. I don't think there's going to be an EMP burst that goes off anytime soon. I'm just maybe I don't believe that the powers you know, at large would allow that, to so to speak, right? Like,
well,
if you want to go full conspiracy theory, right? I don't believe the Illuminati wants to go back to the Dark Ages. Okay,
I mean, not necessarily an EMP blast, but the fact that, you know, the perfect storm of financial tragedy is hitting us that can cause multiple major financial institutions to collapse or have to reset.
Correct.
And during that reset is going to be a lot of mayhem.
There definitely will be. But I'm not as far on that end. My man Hank is over on that side, right? I'm not quite that far, although he's very knowledgeable about what he's got a lot of research. There's no one who has more research than this guy, right? Like, so, like, seriously on that side of stuff. But what you talked about, though, is important, and here's why. Because I can't guarantee that I'm going to see in my life a global reset of the economy. I can't guarantee that. But what I can guarantee is that in 2000 we had to bail out, in 2008 we had to bail out, and in 2020 we had to bail out, and all three of those are going to cause a version of inflation. And in fact, right now, our central bank, right, is trying to create inflation. Like, they want to have inflation happen. And so you mentioned the idea, and I think this is where people don't understand how all this correlates, is that we're already feeling at the stores the prices go up. But what I like to talk to people all the time is, let's take my little town where I live, okay? I live in a town called Denton, Texas, all right? It's a little north of Dallas, nice college community. When I first moved here a decade ago, 2008, right? That was right when the collapse happened. Now, the beautiful thing for this area of the country was they had never had a huge real estate boom.
Okay.
What I mean by that is, like, a house hadn't gone from 100,000 to 200,000 in 10 years, right? Like, that's hyper growth in the real estate market, like it happens in California and Florida, and New York. So when those houses lost value, it hurt the economy, but it didn't hurt them as much, where people weren't losing their houses as quickly as they were in other places, right? After that bailout, and in the 2008 bailout, if you remember, it mainly went to banks and corporations. There wasn't a huge bailout to the population. Right? What happened is the housing market changed. So the house that I first moved to was worth $80,000 in 2008. That same house, because of inflation and other factors, right? People moved here because the economy was okay, but because of inflation, that same house is like $260,000 now.
Wow.
So now it was an affordable house for the jobs that were here. Okay? But the jobs that were here did not increase enough for the average person to now buy a $260,000 home. They can still only afford an $80,000 home. You then look at, say, the leasing market here, and a 3-bedroom apartment when I first moved here at a very nice location was probably between $700 and $760 a month. that same apartment now is around $1,600 a month.
Yeah.
So even if you were getting a 3% raise annually through all of this, your income is going up. You're making more money than you ever made in your life, but your lifestyle is decreasing because of inflation.
Yeah.
So what we're saying when we're talking about this idea of these silver and other assets hedging against inflation, meaning that if I put my dollar in the bank in a savings account, it's losing value. It's losing its purchasing power. But the value of gold and silver is increasing at least at the same rate as inflation, right?
Yeah.
And so that's, I think, where people could understand why this conversation is so important, right? Like if I'm not putting my money in a traditional savings, but I'm saving it someplace else, why would I do that? Right? You know what I'm saying?
And I think it's important too, is another nugget point, pun intended, when our mentors mentioned about accumulating precious metals, is I believe if you accumulate to the point of $30,000, you have whether gold or silver that you own, and you can prove that. You don't necessarily have to bring it to the bank, but if you have some type of papers that prove that you have that amount that you own, you can actually take a loan against that.
Right.
So I think that in itself was like, that blew my mind. Because a lot of times we talk about one of the things that negatively impact the Black community and low income communities is that lack of liquidity or value of any type of collateral that they can use to then launch into a business opportunity. So a lot of times, if they say one of the reasons why other races are more able to get into a small business to start is because they have a home that they can get a loan against. So whether it's a home or whether it happens to be some silver that you happen to be collecting or you accumulated, that is something that can hold value. You could say 10 years from now, I still have this. I don't have to worry about, oh, I'm going to keep 30,000 or 50,000 in a bank in the future, hoping to getting a loan at some point if I decided to start a business.
Yeah, and then on top of that, by the way, what we're talking about, folks, is not necessarily buying a little chunk of silver, right? We're talking specifically about buying, a coin, a silver coin, something like that. So, but here's the cool thing about this: you put it in a safe and you store it. And let's just say, because our communities don't come from wealth, right? But we could all eat less Starbucks to buy one coin a month, right? 1 ounce a month, and allow that to accumulate. Imagine 20, 30 years of doing that, and you've now accumulated that silver, and something happens to you, and you can now pass that silver on. So the reason I mention that is because it's a physical asset that you can pass on. A lot of times we talk about wanting to have something, the generational wealth and stuff like that. This is something that can be passed. So why is that important? Well, in 1970 something, gold was trading for like 30 something cents an ounce, or $30 an ounce, something like that. And now it's at what, 1900, right? And so I actually have a friend of mine whose dad bought some silver and gold back in the 70s. And when he passed away when she was young, in the early 90s, he was able to pass that investment on, and she still has it, right? She wants to be able to pass it on to her children, etc. And so imagine now, you had at that time bought 20, 30, 40 ounces of silver because it was gold, because it was affordable at the time, or you kept accumulating gold throughout the 70s. And now all of a sudden you have this huge willable asset that you can hold on to that's only going to get more valuable over time. And that's what's critical. And at any given point, they could choose to cash a portion of that in to fund a business. They could use it to buy 100 acres of land, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many different things that they can do with that, and that's why it's important. And it's something that's affordable and tangible, where you don't even have to have a huge knowledge base. Just you could just get this on a subscription, sent to your house, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, Where you don't have to go out and find it. You don't have to, you know, whatever. It just comes to the house every month, and you get one and put it in the bank. Not the bank, but a safe, right? Put it in a safe, right? So I think that's kind of cool. Like when I found that out, I was actually talking to this young lady because she wanted to know about crypto. So I was talking to her about that, and I said, "Hey, by the way, do you do anything?" And she's like, "Yeah, I got a bunch of silver and gold that my dad passed away." I was like, "Well, we should add to it also, right?" But the idea was, here you have this big pool that you can pass on. It's like a physical thing, like you know how you have that one necklace of your dad, or you know something like that, a ring that you got from him, or you know something like that, or your mom. You know, this is something that can be passed on, and I think that's an important conversation for people.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about the next generation, I think it's a great inroads, right? Because I have a nephew. He just had a birthday 2 months ago, and I gave him a coin, right? I said, just hold on to that, right? Over time, you know, we'll have more conversations. We'll have more wealth conversations, but hold on to that. Don't go to the arcade with that. Right? So just it's a great introduction into investing, right? And wealth creation, I think, is, you know, you got your kids started on a nice little collection.
And I think you had something important there for kids in particular, because I don't know if they can see it, but the coins themselves are really cool. Like, right, like this one has a spider on it, right? They have a Marvel coins, they have stuff like that. So you're getting the coin and it becomes a collector's thing. So you're teaching your children, they might get excited just about, they might not even understand the wealth creation conversation. They might get excited about the collection. Right. And now you've got your kids accumulating wealth, and they can literally, you could mow lawns to buy silver as a kid. You could do stuff to be able to get these different coins even as a young person. And you know, I think that's amazing. Now here's one thing I do want to say. What you want to get is not just any random coin, right? And the reason why we got coins is specifically because if the coin is minted from something that's tied to any Federal Reserve of any country, right, whatever their central banking system is, then for someone to give you fake silver is now counterfeiting money. It's a federal crime, okay? So we're not just buying silver randomly from anybody off the street, right? We're getting it from a source, because then it's easy to track. If I took this coin down and they proved to me that there was not 1 ounce of silver in here, I now know that this has been counterfeited. I can easily go and track down the source, right? It's a very easy process. So you want to be able to have that kind of protection. The second thing is you actually want to be able to see that they hold more value if they're tied to an actual federal mint and not just the Mint of Arizona, who is like, that's like the Franklin Mint, right? Those are more just solely collector coins. So when you're going on these sites and you have the chance to buy, try to see if the mint that is coming from in Australia or New Zealand or whatever is actually the government's mint, because that coin has more value later in terms of the emergency situation, the spendability, because then that coin is definitely 100%. That's easier for people to know that this coin is definitely silver. But even the accumulation of any coin is going to be powerful, right? Because most people aren't going to know what to do. But again, if you want to turn it in and it's tied to, right, it's already tied to a federal mint, then the value of the coin is going to be easier to transfer, easier to track, easier to spend when you need to later on, right? So,
one thing that
you can get those little cases for them. Those cases.
One tip that I would want to give as well is there are companies that will sell you the asset, whether it's gold or silver, but they will house it for you. So one thing I would warn people against is you do your research. Don't just Google, you know, buying gold or buying silver and pick the first one that pops up on the search, because many of the legit companies have to actually have the asset before they can make a purchase. So they need to have a certain amount in reserve so that they can say, yes, we actually have in our vaults the gold that we're holding for you. Other companies actually take your money and then go get the gold. some of them don't have all of the gold that they're actually telling people that they have. So if something happens and then all of a sudden you're like, I need $20,000, I'm gonna cash in my gold, they're gonna be like, we're gonna need about a month or two before we can make that transaction happen. Now that's not cool. So you wanna find out which companies actually have the asset physically and which companies have to go get that asset after you give them your money.
Yeah, and with that, I'm also wanted to talk to people because they'll mention to me all the time also, well, I don't know where Fake is by Robert Kiyosaki. I don't have it here right now, but they'll mention to us about purchasing the paper.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And we don't want to do that. We actually want the hard actual asset, a hard money asset right here. We can trade the other, like we can trade gold and silver in the forex market, right? And so with forex, that's what we do, folks. So if you ever been wondering why we're harping on this thing so hard, it's because where else can you go to quickly flip your money? Like quickly flip your money. And I don't mean to sound unreasonable. I don't want to say that you're gonna become a millionaire overnight or in short work or something like that. But in the forex market, you literally could flip $100 to $1,000, let's say in 2 months, all right? And now you can now take that and you can now buy other assets and you can continue to do that process and you can continue to do it with just a handful of trades a day, 1 or 2 trades. So it's not like you have to devote a full-time career to be able to create this side income. And some people are like 100 to 1,000, that doesn't seem like a lot. Well, that's a lot of money really fast. Like when you really start to break it down, right? Because if you were to flip $100 16 times, it becomes over $3 million, right? So like if you were to double it just 16 times in a row. So to be able to say that I doubled 2 or 3 times in a month or 2 months is hyper growth, right? It's hyper growth. But that's the kind of thing that you can expect through an education, through learning, and then also through the application, right? A lot of people say knowledge is power, but that is a fallacy, right? Knowledge is power. That just means you're a good note taker. Right? Like that's the skill that you've mastered is note taking. It is applied knowledge that's power, right? So if you hear this conversation and you're sitting at home right now and you're saying to yourself, you know what, this makes a lot of sense. And then you go on about your life and 7 months from now, you can tell someone else, you know, we should be investing in silver. You basically have note taker knowledge, right? Until you actually put in the order and get the coin shipped to your house, that's applied knowledge. Now you're applying it, you're accumulating it. You can then start to have other conversations about what to do with it, whatever else. But if you don't actually start the process, right, then what are you going to do? You know, Randy Webb and Wanda, they're talking about it. I think you got the book too, Jez, don't you? The Wealth Choice. Did you get this one yet?
Not yet.
So they've been talking about this, and this is by Dennis Kimbrough, who's an incredible author, but it's really talking about the Black wealth choice in particular, right? And that basically wealth is a choice. Like you have to make a decision. Unless you win the lottery, it doesn't, and even if you win the lottery, most people lose it, right? It has to become a choice. And when you choose something, that means you have to begin to apply what it is that you're learning. Can you turn that down, please, Naila? You have to begin to apply what it is that you're learning. And so this is up on my list of things to read. But I think what people need to understand when we're having these conversations, even though we like doing it, right? Like I'm not gonna get on here and go live if I don't like talking to my bro. But like the thing is like this is the type of conversation we have on Telegram at 4 o'clock in the morning. You know what I'm saying? Like we're talking back and forth, bouncing ideas. We just started going live all the time. So this is like when we can geek out and go live and talk, right? But the thing is that I wish more people could be up at 4 o'clock in the morning in our community, getting all the value that's coming out of it, right? Like even the accountability challenge that we all have right now, isn't that just game changing? Just that you have someone else in your network that's doing the same thing, that's applying the same information, right?
I mean, for me, it hasn't been mentioned, that catchphrase crowdsourcing. It hasn't been used. I guess we used it to death in the last few years. So when I first saw forex when I first saw the academy, and you mentioned and you brought me to the team, and I plugged into the team. That's what came to my mind was crowdsourcing. And I was like, as much knowledge as I can bring to the table, and as much as I can absorb myself in the academy or online in the articles and all the research that I do, is if I have 10, 15, 20 other people who are also passionate about investing, passionate about changing their families' financial situations, that's 10, 15, 20 other minds focused in on coming up with solutions. So that's definitely going to be a level of opportunity. And that's what we're always talking about, being able to see opportunity. I only have 2 eyes. I only have so much amount of time in a day that I can look at stuff and say, hey, that's something that I should do. But if you're looking at other things too, and Matt's looking at other things too, and we have other people on our team, Jason's looking at other things too, he hit me up the other day and said, hey, did you know about this crypto? I checked it out, said, that looks good. I made a buy, right? If he hadn't told me, I wouldn't have known about it.
Right.
That's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it.
That is the beauty. That's the beauty of it too, is that we're taking this information and we're actually sharing it here. Like, I don't know, people, like, there's so much free value that we've already put into this group that people can literally be taking this stuff and literally just applying it into different places. So here's the deal. If you're in this group right now, just on the silver tip, if you do want to know where we purchase our silver from, you want to hit up Jiz personally, okay? Because you want to be able to get your silver from a reputable source, all right? And just reach out to him and say, hey, listen, I'm interested in how do we purchase silver. I'm let you know, we get our silver on a subscription. Why? Because didn't you guys see the coin shortage? Have y'all been out recently? And you know, you go and they say, please use exact change, right? Because literally the Federal Reserve is short on coins, right? And so, and when the global situation, the global health crisis first hit, silver was being bought in mass amounts by people. And so all of these companies were literally out of silver. And I see that trend continuing. And I want to be able to purchase silver, but I don't want to have to do all of the physical work to find the reputable silver, right? So what I've done for myself and for my family, and I know you've done the same, is I've found a silver company that's going to do that work for me, right? And they're going to just ship me my silver every month, right? And that's that. And then when they get silver in, they notify me if I want to buy extra silver. They say, we've got a quantity of this coin, we've got, you know, this. And I can then pick up extra silver when I want to and have it shipped, but I don't have to now go and find the sources for all this silver right now, because this is too crazy. There's too many people. There's all the preppers. There's all the people right now. So
the beauty of it too is that it allows you to start off small. So you don't have to say, oh, I need a few $100s or a few $1,000s so I can get my silver investment off the road, right? You just need to start with one. You know, one coin.
One coin, 1 ounce. You just start there. And then the other thing is that actually develops the habit, right? The habit of saving, because a lot of us don't actually have that habit. Let's be real. And if you're on this and you're seeing this on replay and you say to yourself, what are you talking about? Well, we know 80% of Americans, or 76% to be exact, have less than $1,000, right? So if we know that that's the case, we know that most people don't have a savings account. Most people know they're supposed to save, but they don't save. And here's the thing, what I like about the idea of the automatic subscription is that it's a forced savings account. And a lot of people don't like automatic subscriptions because they're worried about, can they afford it? Can they do this? But here's the thing, you are on the biggest automatic subscription payment in the history of mankind. Every time you get paid, you realize that the government automatically subscriptioned out their portion first, right? Right, Uncle Sam, remember? When you get paid, his money comes out first on automatic subscription all the time. So you're actually used to doing it. You just don't realize you're doing it. It's the greatest trick the government ever paid, right? And that's the thing, employees don't understand this. Business owners do. I don't pay taxes until the end of the year. Right, I don't pay taxes until the end. Actually, usually it's getting close to 4/16 when I pay off. I don't rush out to file my taxes. I don't do. I'm accumulating, information, getting my receipts together, because I'm trying to do whatever I can to mitigate my tax obligation legally. Like legally, I'm not trying to cheat. I'm not trying to do stuff. I'm trying to abide by the law, right? And make sure I pay my taxes on time, but I want to mitigate my responsibility, right? As much as possible. Well, that's a benefit that I have as an investor or as a business owner, is that I don't pay my taxes right away. You as an employee, if you are an employee, your taxes are taken out before the company even pays you your check. It's called an automatic subscription, right? The government has you on automatic subscription and has been doing it your whole life. So if you say, I don't know if I can do that, I can't afford that, well, then it just means that you don't have enough self-discipline to do what the government has been doing to you. And guess what? The government knows that. That's why as an employee, they don't give you the option, right? Yeah. And so now, I want you to think about that. The government knows that you're not disciplined. That's why they take the money up front. And so the only way to get yourself out of these types of scenarios, which are negatively impacting our wealth, keeping us stuck, is that you have to decide to discipline yourself. It's one of the biggest challenges of being an entrepreneur and working from home. And people have found this out during this global health crisis. Everybody says, I wish I could work from home. It is hard to work from home, not only because of the distractions of children and whatever else, but let's say even if your children were still going to school, right? The reason is because you have been programmed to have someone else discipline you. And you will not discipline yourself, right?
They were actually,
go ahead.
They were actually thinking back in before Obama took office with Bush, they were thinking about getting rid or making opt out of the 401k plans, allow people to create their own self-initiated retirement plans, but tied directly to the stock market. So they were actually going to give people the option and say, hey, you can outperform your 401k plan. You don't need your company's 401k plan. We'll let you create your own investment vehicle through the brokerages. And then a lot of people just said, hold up, we know if we turn that over to people and say you're in control of your own retirement, that it's going to be a nightmare. Too many people wouldn't know what to do or wouldn't do it properly. So just tying back into what you said.
Sorry, I had a little toddler attack. Something went down the wrong pipe when she drank, and her face was like sheer terror. Like she didn't know what to do with that burning feeling. You know what I'm saying? So, no, you're right. So, I mean, look, it's tricky, man. Like people, like I know you did a great interview with someone about taxes and stuff. Like literally, like, do you realize that the founding fathers? Now, listen. I don't have the founding fathers up on a heroic board because they wrote me in as 3/5 of a human being, right? Like, but most of the nation considers the founding fathers, right? Do you realize if the founding fathers came back and saw what we were paying in taxes, do you know what they revolted over? They revolted over a tea tax, okay? Right, a tea tax. So if they saw what we were paying in personal income tax, they would be like, this is crazy, right? They would be like, how did our vision, our dream turn into this, right? And I don't think people realize how much they pay. Like literally people, you pay from January 1st through somewhere around April 20th, somewhere in that range, April 22nd, that's what you're going to pay in taxes for the year. That's what you work for free for. And that's why they take your money up front, right? Because they realize that you would never pay that bill. So if we're having this conversation, we have to have a conversation. Like we have to be disciplined enough to figure out, okay, if I have to miss my Netflix bill versus having my silver subscription, let me make sure my silver subscription goes on time and my Netflix gets cut off, right? Because then I can pay my Netflix bill 3 days later, right? Or something like that. But that's the kind of conversations that we need to start having. And yes, it requires some sacrifice. Yes. Learning this in the academy requires you to invest in yourself. Yes, paying $175 a month to go to school to learn to trade forex is an investment, but at what point are you going to start investing in yourself, right? Like, at what point are you going to stop continually doing the same things? And that's where the challenge is. Like the ability to be self-aware is so important. Like, I had every reason to be egotistical, right? I could go and make $5,000 an hour to tell people about economic empowerment. But the reality was, I was nowhere near where I should be. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I could teach you with authority and conviction and without feeling like I was being a fraud. I could teach you about setting up a business. I could teach you about those things, right? I could teach you about the grind and hustle of that version of economic empowerment. But I said to myself, I'm 42, 43 years old, man. I need to be self-aware and say, hey, listen, I'm missing a component, right? And thank God I did that. Thank God I did that, because that put me in a different conversation. Like we were on a mentorship call today.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was talking about leveling up. And Ivan Tapia was talking about this too. Like, here's a guy who's making a lot of money and he's stuck, and he's like, I need to move to another level. So what do I have to do? Do I stay here continuing to have conversations with my $100,000 friends, right? Which is a great place to be, but not where he wanted to be for what his vision was that he wanted to accomplish, right?
Yeah.
So now he says, I need to go find a $500,000 community, and I need to start talking with them and finding out what they do. And then I need to move to $1 million, and so on and so forth. To the point now, the dude mic drop, oh yeah, I'm on the boat here with Grant Cardone. Like, what? What's going on? Yeah, I only got 10,000 units indoors now. I'm like, what? But it's just like, so we got to be able to put ourselves in this positions. That's why we keep talking about the wealth community. That's why when I approach people and you approach people about forex, it's not just about making money. It's about, you didn't know about silver 3 months ago, 4 months ago, 5 months ago, right? And now you've been put on to a different form of wealth creation, right? That's amazing.
Yeah.
When you think about it, right?
Yeah.
So just like I didn't know that much about crypto. You were the one who was like, yo, I'm trading crypto. I was trading forex. She's like, I'm trading crypto. I'm like, a little volatile. I don't know. And then you were like, nah, it's not really. And you started trading, and then you opened a lot of us up to like, hey, we could trade crypto. Okay, this is cool. It's not as bad as it seems, right? Like, so, and then Trent comes and Trent talks on crypto on a whole nother level, and I'm like, look, hold up, let me get the dictionary out, and then let me start going through word by word. What does that mean? But that's cool though.
I gotta catch him when he's not too busy. We got an interview. We scheduled an interview, and we're still waiting for him to free up his calendar. So.
Yeah, and people are gonna be amazed at that, man. That crypto interview is gonna be great. So, man, listen, I just wanted to be able to come on here and talk to people a little bit about what we're doing, why we're doing it. I want people to understand that if they start investing in some of these coins, if they start to add a little bit, it's a more protected savings account for them. That's going to keep up with inflation, right? If people understand now, okay, if you're an adult and you're old enough, let's say even if you were 18 to 20 years old in 2008, so let's say you're 28 to 30 years old now, right? 32 years old. You have now lived through two major financial catastrophes, right? On a global level. The first one caused a level of inflation, and the Fed was trying to control inflation and not let it get out of control.
Yeah.
This one currently is so bad that the Fed is intentionally trying to cause inflation and has said they don't want to put control measures on the amount of inflation in order to keep the economy growing, right? So if you can see, just go back to that one comparison. An apartment was $750, 12 years ago it's $1,600. What is it going to be 12 years from now?
Yeah.
And will your job or your career that you've chosen allow you to keep pace with that kind of growth? And if the answer is no, then silver becomes something that you can use as a hedge against that inflation. So does crypto in a way. Like you got to pick the right crypto. Hopefully that crypto goes up in value, right? But there's going to be things out there that you can place your money that are a better bet than putting it in a savings account.
Yep.
Or handing it over to your 401k. Right?
Yeah.
401k. So anything you want to say, bro?
No, I think we pretty much did it there. Again, I applaud anybody for joining the group. You know, some people we knew, friends, family, other people, they just saw a post and they just blindly joined. Hopefully, again, that they're all getting value from it. I do hear comments from people and see some comments in the post, the likes and that. We definitely appreciate that. But like Dre said, put this knowledge into action. You know, we do enjoy what we're doing. We're going to keep posting. We're going to keep sharing with our community, but put it to use. Put it to use. Change your life for the better.
You know what, this is dawned on me. I don't know why. I heard some people the other day discussing it. You know, we talk about athletes all the time that accumulate all of this money throughout their career. And people always say, how could they blow that much money, right? And they have no empathy, right? It's like, oh, you should have, like, or if their financial advisor steals all their money, they say, what do people say? Oh, that's your fault, right? Like that was his fault. He should have learned about his own money, right? Or he should have got an education. Like, who? That's stupid. Why wouldn't you? Well, what people don't understand is it's so easy to look at someone who has more and say, point the finger, they should have done this, right? And what I mean by that is, yeah, okay, he made $20 million in 1 year. He had different taxes, he had different stuff, he maybe put in some investments that weren't good and right, should have educated himself. I agree. But some of y'all are making $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 a year. And there's a whole community of people that say, how can you not make it if you're making $80,000 a year? I make 25. Yeah. And what happens is people don't look, they look up, but they don't look at their own circumstances, right? And the truth of the matter is, in a world where most of the world makes less than $500 a month US, I don't care how expensive the US is with inflation. If you're making $80,000, $90,000, 60, 70, and you're not making it, you're not doing something right. Yeah. And it's not just point the finger at the people who are making more. We got to point the finger at us and say, what is it that we're doing? And let's fix that, because there's someone who would love your problems right now.
Definitely. Right? What you call first world problems.
Right. There's someone who would love your Starbucks problem right now. Like they would love to be able to cut. They've never seen Starbucks. They don't know about Starbucks. They would love to have the $10 a day you spend on Starbucks and then complain they got no money. Right? Like they would love it. They just give me the 10 a day. Just send it to me. You know, I'm in Botswana. I'll take $10 US every single day. Right? Like, so there's someone out there that would love our problem. So what I've suggested to people is just take a look. You know, you don't have to tell us, you don't have to tell other people, you have to take a look at you. And you have to make a decision. Am I living the life that I want or should? Am I living the life that I deserve? Am I getting the value for all of the hard work that I have put in all of these years? What is my life going to look like 10 years from now if I continue to do what I'm doing? It's not just about the dream, it's about the nightmare, right? Like, what is it going to be? What is it going to be if I don't apply this information? And then once you determine that, figure out a way to go get what you want and then wake up every single day and pursue it, right? And so this is just a little piece of our pursuit, a little small piece of the conversation that we're able to have. Right now, Natifa, one of our good friends, she's literally at a mansion in Atlanta as we speak, right? And who's there? Not only is Randy and Wanda Webb there, not only is China Bentley there, but Dr. Jewel Tankard is there. Who's Dr. Jewel Tankard? I don't know. Well, if you watch Bravo, you've seen her, right? She's literally a TV star that talks about how to flip houses and how to do, like she's literally got series on network television. And now she's a guru when it comes to investment and flipping houses and de-gentrifying communities, right? Where they've been gentrified, coming in and making sure that our people are buying back the own community that they come from. She's an expert at it, right? And now here's Natifa, who didn't even know about really how to purchase a home a couple months ago. Like, you know the basic stuff, right? But not real estate and investment stuff, right? Not how to invest and flip, and you know what that is, but do you know how to do it?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And now
How to do it right.
Right now, she's literally at the thing in a private closed session because she decided to join into the community and just decided to get the information and then apply what they're learning. So if you guys can do that, if you can apply the little tidbits of information and then go out and find more, and guess what? We're not the end all to be all. There's other sources, there's other places. Go, hey, listen, you don't have to come to me, but you got to go get it, right? This is building generational wealth. The majority of the people in here have skin pigment. There's mine or Jizz's, right? Y'all have to do this. You have to do this. This is the missing piece of the entire struggle. The missing piece of the entire struggle. Y'all realize, I want y'all, Jizz, sorry, I know I'm on a little tangent here, but I want people to realize this, right? Because this is so important. This is so important. I want y'all to understand, in the 60s, the revolt was not just in the United States and the civil rights movement. It was a global, worldwide diaspora revolt, okay? Now watch this. Nations were formed at that time, right? You look at what happened in Ghana, you look what happened in Zimbabwe, you look what happened in South Africa, all these different places where people won their freedom and the colonizers left and gave the freedom to the people. What freedom did they give to the people of those communities? Political and social freedom. They've never once given up a stranglehold on economic freedom. So when we are out here, and that's people that built they got the like, now I am a Ghanaian, I am, right, I'm from this country, this is my homeland, they still never took the noose off the economic standpoint. Here we are in America struggling for opportunity, struggling, why? Against political and social. They will allow us to struggle and do that struggle forever in perpetuity. That's why Black people still get shot by the cops, right? Until we figure out the real missing piece is the economic piece, nothing's gonna change, folks. You have to get us, this is important. This is generational. That's why this is building generational wealth. This wealth conversation will extend into politics, will extend into social justice, will extend into those other things. But the nucleus, the thing that has to be the commonality, is that we have to have an economic base. We have to take back the $1 trillion a year that we spend in the United States of America and bring that into our own community. And that will give us the power to have a real seat at the table and a real conversation about making some of the other social changes. That'll give us the power to have a real diaspora conversation with our other Black nations around the world. Folks, this is important, all right? It's important. So I hope you guys understand that. I'm not just getting on here. Jizz ain't just getting on here. We're having fun, but it's because it's important and because we know it's important that we're not gonna stop. We're gonna keep beating you in the head, right? Like, consider us like your athletic trainer, right? Like, you know, the athletic trainer, he ain't gonna give you no slack. He's gonna be like, look, I know it hurts. Go ahead, do another 10, right? Bang out another set. Like, that's all we're doing, right? It's like, just bang out another set. Let's go. There's gonna be another meeting, another conversation until y'all start to get it. Forex gives you the cash. That's why we want you to learn Forex. Once you get the cash, you're going to deploy that cash into other assets to build generational wealth. Let's come together, family. I'm telling you, this man right here, who I'm on the other end of this camera with, who's in Florida right now, let me just tell you, this guy right here knows what he's doing. He's a successful trader. He calls trade, he sends me trades, he sends me charts markup. I'm like, thank God I know this dude. All the time it happens, right? Okay? He's a great family man. I watch him take care of his children. He cares about our community. He cares about other people. Like when we're talking about building, like right now I'm not giving away, but this guy's like, okay, we're going to be building in other places. I'm studying French. Like he just went out and was like, yo, I'm gonna learn, I'm a master French so that I can help the people that have French language. Come on, folks. So what I'm saying is you couldn't be in a better place than to be working with Jiz right now on these types of projects. Because here's the thing, is if he doesn't know the answer, he's never gonna be your lid. He's gonna say, I don't know, but let's go find out. And let me funnel you to the people who do know. So whatever it is, maybe your goal isn't to be a master trader like mine is. Maybe your goal is just to trade up enough money so that you can start a daycare or whatever it is. We have people within this network who has experience to do basically whatever it is that you want to do. Come apart, let's get going, let's change some things, because I'm telling you what, folks, this wealth transfer right now, if we are on the wrong end of this, this is going to set us back a long, long way. All right. You already hear them talking about make America great again. You know, they're talking about 1950. They ain't talking about 2 years ago, right? That's not the make America great conversation that they're having, right? And so we need to be able to have a conversation that's different. And the only way we're going to do that is if we have the resources to sustain the conversation for the long haul. So I hope that makes sense, bro. I didn't mean to go on a tangent in the group.
No, it's all good, man. It's all good.
All right, man. Thanks a lot, bro.
Anytime, anytime.
All right, let me go ahead and stop the recording. Boom.